You're here on a big news day. Donald Trump announces for president.
Very not exciting.
You are an historic figure in the sense that a couple years ago you helped President Obama with some jokes for the Correspondents' Dinner. John and I reported in our book.
Yes, I'm in your book.
And one of those jokes is about Mr. Trump, and we're going to look at a little bit of that.
Okay.
You, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership, and so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
All right. Was that an easy target? How'd you come up with the idea to go after Mr. Trump?
Well, the great John Lovett, who is someone who was one of his speechwriters and still helps out on that speech, calls me every year. We see if we can come up with anything that we can get in the speech. And, Trump is a worthy target because he only runs for president to promote Celebrity Apprentice. And I'm a fan of Celebrity Apprentice. I like the show, and I like he's doing what it takes to keep it on the air, but I don't think he needs to run for president.
So you bring a sense of skepticism to the fact that today he formally declared he's running.
Well, he's not running for president. He's running for Keep Me Famous. Like, who is giving Donald Trump money at this point? Are there people who actually donate money to the Trump campaign, or is it all his money?
They'll be coming after you for his super PAC.
Exactly, the Trump super PAC.
President Obama's pretty good. That's the one.
He's so funny, it's scary. I remember when he was running for president the first time, I saw him at some town hall, and he said something so cutting and funny. I thought, oh, he's almost too funny to win this election. Like, he can't reveal that he has those gifts.
Another guy who did a famous Correspondents' Dinner routine was Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
And you write about that a little bit. You write about that a little bit in the book.
Yes.
Like watching Colbert over the years when he did that show, he's about to do a new show.
Yes.
What do you see from how? What can you learn from how he deals with confronting the powerful?
Yeah.
Right in front of them on stage and on set making fun of them.
Well, that was an incredible moment. And what he said to me in the book, he said he just really liked his speech. And he was excited to do his speech. And right beforehand, someone said, do you want to talk to the president? And the president was going over his notes for his jokes and his speech. And he said, I don't want to talk to him because in order for me to do the speech, I have to be attacking his ideas. I can't humanize him and make him another guy working on a funny speech.
Another guy in the book, Jon Stewart.
Yes.
Is leaving the stage on the eve of a presidential campaign. There's been a lot of commentary about this, but I'm interested in what you think. How will things be different in our political media landscape in the context of a presidential campaign and no Jon Stewart?
I wish, we could say that Jon Stewart, changed a lot of what happened in politics. I think socially Jon Stewart changed a lot. I think a lot of the reason why we have a generation of kids who think that prejudice is ridiculous, I think it's affected a lot of the reason why gay marriage passed quicker, because it's a whole generation of people that have been taught by people like Jon Stewart and South Park that a lot of these behaviors are just ridiculous. But in terms of getting people elected or not elected, I don't think the show affected anything. He couldn't have been funnier about George Bush, and George Bush won twice, and he eviscerated him, and it didn't seem to have an effect.
You've been outspoken about money in politics being a bad thing.
Yes.
Does that apply to money, big money from Hollywood liberals in politics?
Well, I just think it's ridiculous that anybody thinks that rich people care about other people. And just as simple as that. Like when the Koch brothers give $1 billion for the new election cycle, it isn't out of a great concern for the masses. So everyone is forced into this game.
But that applies, from your point of view, just as much to Hollywood liberals as to the Koch brothers?
I think the difference is that Hollywood liberals would be willing to change the entire system if we all would get the money out of it, and I don't think the conservatives would do it.
So you've built, an empire, a comedy empire, a comedy...
I should buy some politicians with this empire of mine.
You should set up a comedy party of some kind. But you've been the camera guy. guy,
Yes.
right? As a producer, as a director, as a writer,
Yes.
etc. Now you're back on stage.
Yes.
You're doing stand-up. You were just at
That's
the
true.
Beacon here in New York last
Yes.
night. How, like, is that been freaky to get back up in front of people and actually perform and judge your material in real time?
I like it because when you're directing, you work on a project for 2-3 years, and then in one day, when your movie comes out, you find out if you succeeded or failed. Where with stand-up, you have fun every night. If it goes badly, you just do it again the next night. So it's nice to have that component to my career where there's something that's just pleasure and not terror of failure.
Right. Do you, sir, still do an imitation of Steve Martin?
I don't have a good Steve Martin. I can only do Tony Roberts in Annie Hall.
Okay.
Twins, Max. Imagine the possibilities. That's all I have.
You used to do Steve Martin, but you've lost.
Well, I think for about 10 years of my life, I just talked in that voice.
Like which voice?
Just as a kid, you're just like, hey, how are you guys doing right now? And we all talk like that for most of the 70s and 80s.
So specifically the wild and crazy guy voice.
Yes, exactly. The jerk period.
Yeah, how about the rambling guy?
And the rambling.
Yeah,
yes.
I
used to listen to Steve Martin. We would drive to South Carolina on vacation, and we would listen to him for 14 straight hours.
And what's the essence of why he's so funny?
As a kid, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know he was making fun of show business or the absurdity. I just thought, I don't know what it is about this man, but he brings me...
There's something about him that's funny.
Exactly. See? It makes you laugh.
It is funny that you say that because I can remember so clearly that time frame walking around just saying, omelette du fromage. All the time.
Exactly,
Like,
yes.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Someone hates these cans.
Real quick, you've got Amy Schumer's movie coming out.
Trainwreck, yes, Trainwreck.
Like just in a couple weeks, right?
That's right, yes.
Just make the pitch for that movie. I'm sure, like you don't need help selling
Yes.
movie tickets from us, but go ahead.
Well, Amy Schumer, she's an important voice right now. She's very political. She is like a George Carlin type voice. We need more strong female voices and comedians. And she's written a really funny, personal, raucously hilarious movie. And I think it came out great. We're excited. And LeBron James is in it. And we all want to see more LeBron James comedy. And so
the comedy styling.
Yeah, and he kills it. And it's annoying.
A famously hilarious genre.
Yeah, and he's really funny in the movie.
Judd Apatow's new book called Sick in the Head, available now at finer bookshops and other places.